All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Second of all, I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And third of all, I want to give a peace and safety to the hopeful elect out there, the brothers that push this truth, the truth of the King James Bible, and our truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. All right, so I just want to do a short lesson on how alone the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai allows it to go. And this is going to be more news on the trucking industry. All right, and Lord Will's brothers can see on the screen, I have this article here from the Zero Hedge, and it says freight volume and spending declined marked lead in the second quarter. All right, so this is more bad news. Good news to us, but bad news for the unbelievers. All right, about the trucking industry. All right, um, you just had the third largest trucking company, Yellow, declare for bankruptcy. All right, and the word is that they laid off over 30,000 employees and more. They're gonna supposed to lay off. Basically, things is going to get worse there. All right. But they filed for bankruptcy. That's the third largest one. You know, they deliver to Walmart and all over, all in different other places. All right, and they went bankrupt. All right, and now this, it says the truck freight volume and spending in the second quarter of 2023 declined by the highest level since the early days of the pandemic. And we remember what happened when the pandemic first started. Less good. Eventually, what happened? Less goods was in the store. Store shelves were empty. You know, those shipyards where stuff gets shipped overseas from China to here or Pakistan or wherever it comes from to here. Those shipping yards were overcrowded, were flooded because the trucks were uh pretty much was at not a full force standstill, but less trucks was on the road, and that's why all that cargo was backed up at those shipping yards. All right, which resulted to less goods being in the stores. All right, so now they're saying this is the worst since then. All right. The early days of the pandemic and the latest U.S. bank freight payment indicated revealed spending by shoppers dropped because people are broke. People ain't got the money to go out there and spend on these luxury goods like TVs and shit like that. They ain't got the money to spend on that on shit like that right now. All right, or won't have it anymore. All right, um, until they take the C hip. All right, unless they take the C hip when they offer that UBI, which in order for you to get that UBI, you're gonna have to have this C hip. But until then, um, people are gonna spend less, more gonna not spend at all, or spend way less because they don't have it right now. All right, spending by shoppers dropped 10.9% compared to the second quarter of 2022, and that's when them stimulus checks and shit was made. That basically that UBI was handed out. That's when people were going out there spending. All right. That's why I said again, people ain't gonna go out there and start spending again until they Esau offers that UBI system. Which again, at the end game of that, you're gonna have to have the C hip. All right. The second quarter 2022, while shipments volumes dropped 9% according to the statement from Minneapolis-based bank, trucking is in the midst of a significant slowdown. Right, and you talk to some truckers. All right. Like I know people that they are in the trucking industry, and they'll tell you that yeah they're getting less loads. They're not getting as many loads as they was getting before. All right, which leads to what? Less trucks being on the road. All right, and less stuff getting in the stores. All right, said Bob Costello, if I pronounced that right, senior vice president and chief economist at the American Trucking Association. Weaker consumer demands for goods because they're broke. They can't go out there and spend money like they want to. All right, and it slowed down in manufacturing activity, jobs shutting down, cold word for job shutting down, and housing starts are having a major impact on the industry, especially carrying operations. And again, once the trucking industry dies, America dies. All right, and it's dying. Again, the third largest trucking company is going bankrupt, and now this. All right, nationwide shipment levels have now decreased from five consecutive quarters. In the second quarter, volume dropped most in the Northeast and Southeast, 12.6% year over year. The Southwest continued to be a bright spot, and shipments increased to 14.8%. In the spot market, we've been observing for a while sharp spending drops caused by lower volumes and increased capital. And right, if the people ain't going out there and buying it, if all the shit is just sitting on the shelves, why would the trucking companies pay these truckers to keep driving, waste money to put all these truckers out there if all that shit is just sitting on the shelf still? It don't make no sense. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna cut. They're gonna cut. Um, they're gonna so like yeah, they're gonna cut back on the amount of drivers they have on the road, which again will eventually lead to less stuff being on the shelves, which will bankrupt them because they ain't moving. All right, because they ain't which eventually will bankrupt them because they ain't getting no business. All right, and eventually when all the stuff is off the shelves and there's less trucking companies out there, again the third largest one has just went bankrupt. When less trucking companies are out there, less goods are going to get to the store because I don't know how many trucking companies there are in America, but there has to be a good number. All right, and if they're all going bankrupt and going under and not putting truckers on the road, that's going to lead to less goods getting in the store. And eventually, when Esau puts that panic out there, people are going to go out there and start panic buying. All right, and then if you're the truckers, if you're the trucking companies, why would you put truckers on the road, or the companies that's paying the trucking companies to put the goods in there? Why would you send goods to the store? People just stealing them. You're not making no money. So all this shit is about to come down, man. All right. No matter what Esau does or tries to do, all right. Which this is all through the spirit of Bobby Yahweh Shem Yahweh putting the spirit on him causing him to do this. All right. It's over for America, man. All hell is finna break loose in the very, very near future, and this is proof. All right. And we've been observing for a while sharp spending drops caused by low volume and increased capital. This trend has now solidly penetrated the contractor's freight market, said Bobby Holland, director of freight business analyst in U.S. banking. Nearly every category, and they're not putting this on the mainstream media. All they're talking about is Trump being indicted and other bullshit. All right, and the aliens are coming. No, just straight bullshit or some other bullshit is going on. Some bitch that faked fake the kidnapping or whatever. That's all they're talking about in the mainstream. They're not, but this is what's going on. This is what's really going on in the world right now. All right. While people out there are in La La Land, this is what's going on. All right. Uh, the Midwest region has sharply spending dropped in the second quarter, 18.7% year over year. The Northeast and West are expanded double-digit spending decline drops, experiencing double-digit spending declines. So all over the place, dropping from the north to the east to the south to the west, dropping 10.9% and 10.2%, respectively, versus the second quarter of 2022. And again, that's when they was giving out all that free money. All right, that's why people was going out there spending and business was booming. But now everything's coming, like they say, it's coming home to roost, man. It's coming home to roost. All the money's drying out, the taxes is gone. All right, reality is coming back now. All right, and that's why I did a video yesterday through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh saying they want to bring you to their knees. This is all by design to choke you out, to get you to accept that C-hip. Okay, that's what's coming with that universal basic income. All right, West truck freight continues to struggle in the West. So they out there in the West region as a port activity and housing starting, they continue to slow down. This is the lowest point for shipping in the West in 3 years. Southwest continues to outperform others regions in southwestern volumes and benefits from increasing trucking transport trades with Mexico at 14.8% year over year. And I believe not Trump, but Biden's trying to cut that. I believe he turned it back on that NAFTA shit. I'm not 100% sure, but they're beefing with Mexico right now because they're talking about joining the BRICS. They're in the conversation to joining the BRICS. So we'll see how that plays out. Which Mexico at 14.8% year over year increase in sharp in shipping is the highest since 2008. Midwest continues to slow down in manufacturing. Northeast 20 point. Just read through it now. Northeast 27.1 volume contract is the largest in history for the freight pyramid payment index The region faces multiple headwinds, including low housing starts. However, the contractors and housing uh, consumption likely had the biggest impact for the populated area. Southeast, even through shipment contract 12.6% year over year and slightly over a linked quarter basis. This was an improvement for the region in the first quarter. Shipments fell 16.1% year over year, 10.1% on a linked quarter. Trucking freight spending levels have now contracted year over year for 2 consecutive quarters, with spending at an all-time high levels of predicted 6 quarters. The recent drop brought spending activity back to its relatively strong level of mid-2021. Yeah, so there you go. There you go. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse, man. And again, this is what's really going on in the world, while the world is paying attention to you know, all in the bread and circuses. You know, we got the football season getting ready to start. Actually, the first game is tonight, which is nothing wrong with NFL game anyway. But there's nothing wrong with watching sports. But that's where people's heads still at. Well, you got stuff like this going on in the world. All right. So I'm gonna leave you with one precept. This 2nd Ezra chapter 6. We read it a bunch of times, but it's coming. It's coming fast. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And how do you? The goods that's on the store get shipped by boat over here to America. All right. And from those shipping yards they get there by trucks. So if the trucking yards is going down the hill, I mean, it's like if the trucking industry is going downhill, what does that mean for your grocery stores? Less stuff in your grocery stores, because that's how it gets to the grocery stores. Trucks. The goods in the store get there by trucks. All right. So this is the beginning phases of it. All right. Your storehouses is being found empty, and then when Esau puts that panic out there, people are gonna go out there and panic buy. All right, and that's gonna clear the shelves out quicker. That people are going to be stealing, spoiling the stores. They're not going to pay for it. They're going to spoil it because they can't afford it anyway. All right, so they're going to go in there and steal it, and then if they're whatever trucking companies are left, why would they pay truckers to go on the road and drive if people are just going to and people are going to steal it? How are they going to make their money? They're not going to make any money. So why the best decision would be to just close the doors. All right, it's good to say the door should be shut in the street, meaning business is shutting down. All right, and that includes the trucking industry. So here you go again, man. Freight volume and spending declined markedly in the second quarter. Trucking freight volume and spending in the second quarter of 2022 declined by the highest level since the early days of the pandemic. And that's because they were shutting everything down. And they're probably about to lock shit down again and blame it on climate change, but we gotta wait and see. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash, double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and safety to you brothers that push this truth and sincerity. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.